Thank you for listening to the Bladder Battle Podcast special series, Flarey Tales. This is a new series, and it is going to give a chance for inspirational warriors with bladder conditions such as interstitial cystitis a chance to share their personal journey. This series is also intended to bring awareness and create conversation around the illness. But this podcast is not intended to be a medical alternative for physician care, nor to treat, cure, or prevent any illness or disease. So please always consult with your physician for professional medical advice. Today, I invite a fellow IC warrior on the show. She is the founder of the IC Warrior Box, and she's here to share her personal story and kind of passion behind this project. So, Amanda Brem, welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lauren. I appreciate you having me. I'm
very excited to learn about you and your project, kind of how it all came to be. So, before we get into the IC Warrior Box, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about your IC diagnosis, kind of the process, what it was like, just kind of your journey in general.
Yeah, definitely. So heck, I could talk for hours on that. But to play it short, just kind of looking back now, since I've been officially diagnosed with IC, I want to say that I've had a few flare-ups just growing up in my childhood and everything when I didn't even know what they were. I remember this one specific time I was in middle school. I had the worst pelvic pain of my life. I hadn't even had my period yet, so I knew it wasn't that. I just remember being in the nurse's office, bent over with pain, and my mom had to come pick me up, and we were both just so confused about what was going on. And then finally the next day it kind of had eased down. So I'm almost curious that I had gone into remission after those few weird flare-ups in my childhood, and then my full-on symptoms started in July of 2019. I thought what I had was a UTI. And I know this story probably sounds very similar to a lot of other IC warriors. After going to the doctor countless times, trying antibiotic after antibiotic, nothing was working. I knew it wasn't all in my head, and I started doing some major research. I came across interstitial cystitis. Honestly, reading the symptoms kind of scared me, thinking, oh my gosh, this is something that I might have to live with for the rest of my life. I realized that all the symptoms lined up exactly with this disease. So finally in October of 2019, after just fighting relentlessly for an answer, I knew something was wrong with me, and I had to figure out what. So I eventually had a hydrodistension cystoscopy done that diagnosed me. My urologist, he found hemorrhages in my bladder, which is kind of how we for sure knew. So that's what eventually diagnosed me, long story short.
Definitely sounds like, the classic starts with a UTI, doctor visit after doctor visit. Yeah. We spend lots of money. We don't get the answers. So, a lot of the warriors that I've spoke with, kind of similar story. And even, bringing up some of those symptoms in your childhood, I've heard that from many. And even thinking about my own journey with this illness, mine started 4 or 5 years ago. But when I think back to being a kid, I realized that there were many times that I had just weird symptoms down there that were very unexplainable. So
yes, yeah,
it's pretty interesting, to kind of wonder how it happened, where it came from, and why. So
yes.
it can be very frustrating and kind of daunting. So I sort of want to break down a couple areas that many of us struggle with. But, a lot of us do find positivity out of these areas. So I kind of want to know, how has this affected your relationships? So those can be professional, family, romantic relationships. How have those been affected? Kind of how your mental health has been affected. This is a big one. It's very huge for all of us.
Yep.
And kind of what's your opinion on the medical system and kind of what types of care you feel that you've, gotten or lack thereof. So kind of break down those key areas for me: relationships, mental health, and then medical care.
Yeah, definitely. So relationship wise, during this time, the summer of 2019, I was actually going through a pretty hard time with my boyfriend of the time. We had been dating for about 4 years. Something just personal had happened. So that didn't help matters at all. So eventually, though, once the cystoscopy came around, he had been with me. We were healed. It was fine. And he had been with me every step of the way. He's just the most supportive guy during all of this. It's just been awesome. It's honestly motivated him to eat better with me. Whenever we make meals together, it's always stuff that he knows that I can have. He's so very accommodating. So that's been great. My parents, I mean, they've been amazing through it all, super supportive, constantly asking me how I'm feeling. If we go out to an event or to dinner or something, we make sure like it's somewhere that I can go and eat as well, so they don't have anxiety about that. So that's been amazing. I mean, I can't even put into words like how much, but both of their relationships mean to me. Friendship wise, honestly, but in the very beginning, I thought that I had no friends because nobody would ask me how I was doing, what it felt like, what I was experiencing, except my one true friend. I swear she's my sister, Cassie. She was just amazing. Just every day she would text me, ask me how I was doing, like how it feels, like really curious about the disease. It just really made me feel heard. And now kind of looking back to that time, I realized that, I did have more friends than just Cassie. I think they were just honestly nervous or maybe scared of how to ask how I was feeling because it was just such a new thing. Didn't want to say the wrong thing, didn't want to be, put into an uncomfortable conversation. So now I can understand and be okay with that. And I'm a lot more close to everyone now. Just getting to talk about those things a lot more comfortably. And at the time I was a senior in college, and I was working as a marketing intern. And my boss, I remember he was just the most understanding guy. I seriously lucked out to have him during that time because I remember just sitting down on his little comfy chair in his office and just being able to cry to him about what was going on. And he just had my back 100%. And if I had to leave for, 10 different doctor appointments every week, he was completely understanding. I felt so blessed to have him during that time. Kind of going into mental health wise, I swear that whole experience brought me closer to God than ever. I mean, during my symptoms and following up to my diagnosis, so that was the summer before my senior year in college and into it a little bit too. So my parents had actually gone through this terrible rough patch, almost getting divorced. I was working as a manager at a tanning salon. That huge mishap between me and my boyfriend of 4 years then, that almost tore us apart. So to say the least, I really had to work at my mental health during that time. It was the most struggling time of my life, I think, that I had gone through. But honestly, it was so rewarding in the end, especially when I graduated my senior year. I had never been so proud of myself, and it's going to get me choked up thinking about it. But it was really cool to be able to know that I could go through that. But just being diagnosed with IC, I had this whole new meaning to life. I was more in tune with my body than ever before. I have this raging passion to figure out what's wrong with me and to stick to my IC diet as best as I can. I always knew I wanted to help people when I grew up. I just didn't know how. So this path has really led me to some cool things. I feel like God has just kind of delivered this to me on a silver platter, even though, God works in mysterious ways.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's incredible.
He's just kind of like, here's this awesome thing, and just run with it. So I've been trying to do that. So that's been pretty cool. going to, I know you asked about kind of medical care and all that stuff. So, oh man, I think everyone has gone through the process of trying to be diagnosed with IC and has terrible experiences with, I'm crappy doctors until they find the right one. And that's kind of where I was at too. So the first urologist I went to was just terrible. He pretty much wrote off my pain saying that, oh, you're just a lady and women pee a lot.
Oh,
and I
gosh.
could just tell by how he spoke to me and his mannerisms that he just did not respect what I was going through. He actually ended up scheduling me an in-office cystoscopy to try to diagnose me. And honestly, I would never, ever do that again. I would not recommend doing that unless you are asleep. Just to know that some urologists think this is an appropriate thing to do with people with urinary tract problems kind of baffles me.
Yeah.
I mean, they take a large catheter with a camera into your urethra while you're awake, and they have to move it around to try to see in your bladder. So this irritates an already inflamed bladder. Plus, it doesn't even give you full vision because you can't see cracks or anything. Right. And just after this, I had the worst flare up, and it slowly started to calm down. And then, it didn't show anything for me. It just made my IC more irritated and worse. So to say the least, I said good riddance to that urologist. And so this is when I really started to dig into more research. And finally, I figured out, because I remember my dad was like, I think my mom has some bladder issues. I'm going to ask her about it. And I was like, what? Like, how have you not told me this before? So I talked to my grandma on my dad's side and find out that she has IC. She's had it for 30 plus years.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And I was just thinking, holy moly, like she must hide it very well. Plus, back then I know women kind of learned to suck up their pain and just conform to everyone else's diets as best as they can.
For
and
sure.
They don't really want to speak up for themselves as much as us ladies do now. I remember, she told me just the other day in the car, because we talk about our pain a lot together and what we've been through. And she was like, I remember just still going to parties and just eating whatever everybody else wanted to eat, because I didn't want to, cause a disruption or anything like that. And that just honestly made me so sad that she had to deal with it like that. And because heck, now if somewhere that I'm going to doesn't have the food, then I'm going to bring a chicken salad. And I don't care what other people. So.
It's pretty crazy how mothers, our grandmothers, our great grandmothers, there are some tough women, and we have to really give them some gratitude, because you're absolutely right. I think that's why this disease hasn't even been talked about or researched or really understood, because it didn't really surface until, the 80s or 90s, because I don't think it was being talked about. So it's a very valid point there.
Yes. Oh, I read that some ladies, they were just written off to pretty much go to the crazy house, because all the men or all the doctors were men and just didn't really see that was an issue. So, that made me sad for her, but I'm glad that now she knows that she can speak up for herself and we can lean on one another. So finally I found out the urologist that my grandma goes to. And so first he was so busy, so I met with his PA. I honestly, when I got in there with her, my boyfriend Cole, he went with me just for some support. And I remember just crying to her and just saying, I need answers. I've gone through a lot. I've tried many different things. Nothing works. I know I'm not crazy. And so she just made me feel so heard and validated. And that's when we scheduled the hydrodistension cystoscopy. And that's when she gave me the IC food elimination diet plan. So that's when I started that. So that was kind of when I finally found a doctor that I liked. I also see it's a urologist, OBGYN now too. I see him for a little bit of other stuff as well. And I just realized through this journey, it's not a bad thing to have a lot of different doctors to just kind of give you a lot of different options.
I want to actually go back to, you were talking about cystoscopies and how ridiculous it is that they think that that's okay to do it without anesthesia. I mean, it's local, the gel that they put on, whatever it is. I actually opted out of having mine because of the horror stories that I was reading and hearing from other people, that it was creating more of a flare afterwards. It's very painful during it. You know, I had a very similar experience with the urologist. It honestly sounded like the same person. So, you know, it's awful that that's such a familiar experience for all of us to kind of have. It's always like our first doctor or our first urologist experience is pretty terrible.
Right.
For me, I actually got more of an understanding of what interstitial cystitis was from my OBGYN. So it just goes to show you kind of how different they, you know, each doctor thinks about it. You know, an OBGYN is going to be a lot more forward for women's health, of course.
Yes.
So Amanda, can you kind of describe, maybe you've touched on this a little bit, but some positive or monumental moments that you have had maybe since you've been diagnosed? And then kind of going beyond that, what types of remedies and therapies, whether that's, you know, herbal supplements or diets, you've mentioned a little bit, but let's kind of get into that a little bit further, you know, some of the things that you do every day to really manage this. So let's kind of first touch on some of those positive moments that have really come out from being diagnosed with interstitial cystitis.
Yes, of course. So, I mean, there's been many positive things that have happened, which is weird with such a painful disease of what joys it can bring you, honestly. I mean, now I can't imagine myself without this disease. I mean, I feel like it's this strong part of who I am and how I think and how I treat my body. And one major thing was when I started to go, I had before go to counseling, but then I really started to go a little more. And it was a Christian counselor who I love dearly. He's just awesome. And because I remember really struggling with the fact that just since I'm a Christian and everything, wondering why God would make me go through this pain when I know that he has the power to take it away. And I know that probably many other IC warriors who are faith-based maybe ask them themselves this question too. And I remember him being like, Amanda, like you can be mad. You can be mad at God. You can yell at him, scream at him, cry to him. But just know that like he doesn't do this to us specifically. You know, that's why there is sin in the world. The world is a fallen, dark place, and these are just some trials we have to go through. And honestly, though, like these hard trials in any situation usually bring you closer to God, which is kind of funny how that works out. But just strengthening my faith has it's been amazing. It's been an awesome journey, really. I feel like I've gotten to know Jesus kind of on a different level. So that's been a really cool thing for me. I mean, in another sense, like a awesome positive thing is just to being so healthy now. I mean, I think it's a blessing in disguise because now, I mean, and it's not like I ate terrible before, but now I eat all whole foods. And don't get me wrong, I still like my ice cream at night, but I just eat vanilla or something that doesn't bother me. And just being able to stay healthy in that sense and be so in tune with my body and you know, what irritates me and what doesn't has been really cool too. And then, like I said before, when I graduated college, oh my gosh, I had never been so proud of myself. I mean, you know, when you go into college or anything, you never know what trials you're going to experience, and just knowing everything that I went through to just be so proud of yourself is really pretty cool. And just know that us ladies, and I know men have IC too, to know that we can deal with this pain and not get a lot of recognition or support for it is pretty freaking cool. So it's been awesome. I mean, then again, there are some sucky times, but overall, I swear I wouldn't want life any other way. So going into some things that I've tried since, last July 2019. So the first year and a half of me being diagnosed, I tried many, many things. Like I know you, Lauren, and probably this entire audience has gone through as well. I started out with the elimination diet, trying to see what foods bothered me. So that is when I was crushed to know that I couldn't have chocolate or coffee again. I mean, everybody knew my love for chocolate, and just to know that I could have that again was crushing. But then I came across Carob, which is like a chocolate replacement. So that's been pretty good. Yes. And I can actually do white chocolate. I guess it's just because it's without the caffeine and all that. So I can do that. So just kind of find those alternatives. And instead of coffee, I drink herbal teas. I drink a chamomile and spearmint and lavender tea every morning. And so it's just kind of making yourself find those happy alternatives is super helpful. So also looking at the elimination diet, if anyone is starting that right now, really focus on what you can have rather than what you can't. Because in the beginning, that's kind of where I screwed myself over. I was so down in the dumps, like I can't have this.
Oh yeah.
And I remember my dad, he was like, Amanda, but look at everything you can have. And so just really changing your perspective on things helps so much. So after that, I also tried the hydrodistension cystoscopy. I've had that twice now. It helped some, not as much as I thought it was going to, but I've heard if you keep getting it, it can help more and more. So I'm just going to keep doing that. It's not like it makes it worse. So
that's good though, that it does help, doesn't make it worse. So we're kind of all in that place where it's like, if it doesn't hurt me, I might as well keep trying it if there's some benefit to it.
Exactly. Because with IC, some things can take months, if not a year, to show any side effects or improvement. So
for sure, yeah.
Trying that. So the marshmallow root supplements, I've tried D-Mannose. So that helps when you really do have a UTI and everything, plus even without, which is why I put that in my box. I tried this coconut oil concentrate. I cannot remember the name of it. It didn't help me with IC, but it cleared my skin up, so that was a nice plus.
Well, hey, gotta love that.
Yes. I was like, that's an awesome thing.
It's kind of funny because I've discovered a lot of products that have helped me with other things that I didn't even realize were problems.
Yes.
But it's been kind of amazing. I've had the best skin. My gut has been so much better, and just all these little things. My hair has grown so much. I'm like, I don't know what I'm taking that's doing all of this, but the combination has got to be helping everything. So
Oh yeah, no doubt.
So let's kind of break down some of the items. You have 3 different level boxes. So let's kind of talk about what each one has included in it, why you selected that, and where people can go to order these amazing boxes.
Yes, definitely. So inside each box, so we'll just go with the gold level because that has everything, and the bronze and silver just has -1 thing in it. So I put the Desert Harvest aloe vera capsules, magnesium. I have the aloe gel and the aloe glide. And I also have the chamomile teas because that is the brand of chamomile that I drink. Of course, there are many other brands, but I just happen to stick with that one. Let's see.
That's a good one. That's a really good tea brand. I've been drinking their tea for years now. So
good. I'm glad you like that one then. That's awesome. And then I put together a heating pad. I sewed that up. So each one is made made with love for you all, with essential oils in there too. I have the D-Mannose too. And by the way, working with the ladies from Desert Harvest and West Coast Mint, they're amazing. So definitely give them lots of your business. They're pretty cool. But I mean, yeah, all in all, and then some laptop stickers that I found online, which are just really awesome, through one creator. She has a lot of cool interstitial cystitis things. So I just wanted to get a box of things together that I would want. Cause knowing me, I know a lot of other IC people, we're all kind of alike in what we take. And I know tons of people talk about Desert Harvest and the D-Mannose a lot. So I knew those were going to be pretty popular. I want to definitely keep growing and getting some more things in there too, though. And you can even buy the Desert Harvest and D-Mannose separately on my website as well. Hopefully I can get some CBD in there too. I have some other things that I'm working on. And, I mean, just with me just starting this business, it's already been so awesome with all the recognition that I'm getting, how many people can relate, how many people like the boxes. I mean, just like you were saying, like it was kind of a godsend with all of the products is what people like us usually use on a daily. And so that's why I'm going to hopefully get them out to some doctor's offices and stuff like that. So,
oh, that's a great idea. Definitely. And even just gift giving. It's a great idea for people who don't know what to buy us because maybe they're sick of getting us gift cards. Maybe they don't know what kind of, treats and food we can eat. So here you go. Here's the best gift of the season. Go and buy it. It's seriously amazing. And you have it priced at a very good price, because if you were to think of all of these like separately, I'm pretty sure the retail value would be way higher. So
definitely,
that's pretty incredible. It's well designed. It's a cute box, a great gift, and then if it's more affordable. So I think it's definitely a great thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
Now, do you plan? I know you said you're thinking about adding, some more items. Do you plan on going into some more direction? So perhaps like a culinary box to get people started on what they can eat, because that is like such a huge topic. So, would you consider something like that, with the items and ingredients that we kind of all collectively agree that we can all have?
Yeah, I mean, Lauren, oh my gosh, I have like so many ideas. It's a little overwhelming. So yes, I mean, I would love to do something with recipes, especially because so my boyfriend, he's a huge cook. And like I said before, he's helped me out tremendously in finding safe foods and safe meals that I can eat. So being able to put something together like that. I would also absolutely love to make a warrior box for each disease, like each major disease that is out there. I mean, for IBS, for cystic fibrosis, I mean, the list goes on and on of what kind of warrior box I can make. But all in all, it will be specifically for IC, but hopefully I can help out some others as well. I mean, I know some close people that suffer from each of those diseases actually, so they could help me on that. And yeah, just adding in other products too that I know I use and taking in suggestions from other people as well. I mean, I've already made so many more friends that suffer with IC as well. And just having someone that understands what we're going through and can help me and what I need to put in the box for them. Because maybe, something that helps me doesn't help them and vice versa. So yes, there are tons of ideas and awesome things that will hopefully in 2021 be coming out fairly shortly.
Yeah. What were some of the logistics and hurdles that you sort of had to go through to get this up and running? Because I know you are working with Desert Harvest. Heather over there is amazing. You're working with Rochelle at West Coast Mint. How did you kind of go about getting them on board? I mean, I'm sure they agreed right away, but kind of what were some of those logistics and hurdles you had to go through?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, first, I think I reached out to Desert Harvest first because I went to school for entrepreneurship, and I pretty much have this notebook of business ideas. And finally, this idea came to me, and I had never felt just so sure about an idea. And I'm sure many other people can speak to that as well, just like maybe you with your podcast, and just something that really speaks to you. And so I knew this is what I want to do. And it would also help that, I don't have to have rental space for this or anything. I can do it from my home. So it's not like it'd be a ginormous cost out of it. And I can still work full time at the business that I really appreciate. So first I reached out to Desert Harvest and spoke with those ladies, and they were so awesome. And they just thought it was such a cool thing of my IC Warrior box idea. And they were totally on board, which gave me even more confidence. And then I reached out to West Coast Mint, or you know what? I honestly can't remember. She reached out to me first. I can't remember, but I think it was from a TikTok that I made actually. And so, yeah, Rochelle, she's been so awesome. She is so sweet, and helping me with that too. Very supportive lady.
Yeah, she was the first guest I had on the podcast. So she's a great person.
She is very genuine. So just doing that. And then I had a whole list of things I wanted to put into the box. And obviously just starting out, I'm like, okay, well, let's just narrow it down to a few things. So that was really hard to choose what exactly I wanted to narrow it down to. And I know that everybody can use a heating pad. Plus you can even make it into an ice pack. It works both ways. I did the D-Mannose pills, knowing that a lot of people can use that. The chamomile tea bags, just because I know chamomile is 9 times out of 10 pretty safe for most IC people. And then, the aloe vera gel, magnesium, the Glide, the laptop stickers, which is just kind of fun. I mean, I have that stuff all over my personal items, and anything to strike up a conversation, with people. Maybe they would ask what interstitial cystitis is, and then you can be like, oh, well, that's awesome. And let me tell you a little bit more about that, because we need more awareness and more research done about it. So that was kind of my thinking behind all of my products, but just some awesome little tools that everyone can use. And I know it'll just keep growing. And I mean, heck, any suggestions that anyone has out there, please let me know, because this box is for you guys. So I want to make this as versatile and as awesome as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And where can somebody buy your box? So what's your website?
Yeah, my website is super easy. It's just icwarriorbox.com. And I also have a TikTok, and I have an Instagram and a Facebook page. So feel free to like and follow me too. And I mean, we're all in this together. We're just one big community. So any help we can give each other is awesome.
That's a great way to end the podcast today. So Amanda, I really appreciate your time for telling your story and for kind of letting us in on your passion projects. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course, Lauren. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And I also want to thank our audience of IC Warriors. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to the Bladder Battle Podcast on this new special series, Flarey Tales. Make sure to subscribe if you're listening on YouTube, or leave a rating or review on Spotify, Apple, or Google Podcast. And stay tuned for the next episode right here on the Bladder Battle Podcast.